I want to take a look at software company Palantir. The stock up over 15% on Friday. This after investor Kathy Woods purchased 5.2 million shares. It's also emerging as the new darling of the Reddit investor forum, Wall Street Bets. Joining us right now is Joe Lonsdale, 8VC founding partner and Palantir co-founder. Joe, it's great to see you. I mean, this stock has been on a tear. The Kathy Woods endorsement helping it clearly. But I'm curious what you make of the Wall Street Bets attention.
Well, you know, as a venture capitalist and entrepreneur, I'm used to thinking 3 to 5 years ahead as opposed to trying to see what's going to happen a week or a few months ahead. But listen, there's a lot to be excited about with this stock. It's one of the very strongest technology cultures in the world, in a world where hard technology matters for every industry. So I think it makes sense that people are excited about it.
As a venture capital investor, are you still in this stock, and do you plan to stay in the stock? Typically, VCs are in the beginning, obviously, and then, of course, there's an exit.
Well, I own a lot of founder shares in the stock because I created the company with my roommate, with Peter's backing, and with Alex and Nathan. And, you know, I invested a lot in the company along the way more recently, and I distributed those shares to my investors, and so they get to each decide what they're going to do with them. But I'm gonna hold a lot myself for the long term. I think this is an important company for the next decade.
But I appreciate that the public market is not your market, but I am curious, as someone who's watched the Valley and who's watched valuations, what you think of this phenomenon of a sort of social media enabled investing universe to come together to talk about a stock, in certain cases talk up a stock, and potentially in the future to talk down a stock, and how that may shift and change the way companies are valued.
Well, I mean, it is pretty wild to watch our friends Elon and Chamath and everything going on Twitter. I never considered showing my abs and talking about stocks at the same time. It's a pretty funny world we have going on in the tech world right now. You know, at the same time, these are clearly, I mean, technology is clearly the hero of 2020, despite everything that happened. You know, it's solving a lot of problems, and everyone's come to realize this is the area where growth is, and this is the area that is actually solving real substantive problems. I mean, Palantir's helping distribute the vaccines around the world. It's helping solve the hardest problems for a lot of big companies. So to me, it makes sense. People would be excited about it. And, you know, the question really is, what are the moats in these companies? I think technology was undervalued for quite a long time because people underappreciated those moats. And as they appreciate them and as they see places that have the very best technologists, it makes sense that there'd be a shift where a lot of these companies would be valued a lot more highly.
Right. But, by the way, you mentioned Elon and you mentioned Chamath. Do you think it's responsible or irresponsible for folks like that who have a big megaphone to either talk up or down stocks, or I don't know if we'll call Bitcoin a commodity for now. Some people call it a currency.
You know, I think it's a lot of fun, and I think there's a lot of substitute teacher energy from the people in government who don't want people doing this and having fun. I think it's perfectly fine. Obviously, there is a lot of risks for retail investors for anything they're doing in these areas, and so maybe there's a little bit much risk with people's personal wealth if they're putting all of their wealth into any one thing. That's probably pretty crazy.
In terms of valuations today, we're seeing obviously asset values across the board, technology in particular, go up. As a venture capital investor, are you saying right now for yourself, as you're looking at small startups that I imagine are starting with even higher valuations as a result, is this the time to be buying, or is this the time to be harvesting?
Well, you know, early stage venture capital is almost always a good thing to be doing. And so you got to make sure you're not overpaying for things. But this is the time to be building, frankly. Like I've helped build 12 companies in the last 3 years now. We're launching a lot of companies out of 8VC with top talent. This is the time to be working closely with top talent and building, because there's a lot of resources out there. And so that's what we're mostly focused on.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.